Ancient technology, isn't it wonderful? But other than being a phone for drug cartels and the technophobic, what you also didn't know about the humble Nokia is that it can reach back into the past and phone historical figures. So today, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at who was the father of history.
Hello? Hello, Herodotus. It's Mr. Keet here.
Aha! My good friend Mr. Keet. I'm at a party at the moment, down at Dionysius's place. What can I do for you?
I've called to ask you about your approach to history.
The purpose of history for me? Well, history for me has always been about recognising man's great achievements. Sometimes those may be the achievements of the Greeks, other times it might be those of the barbarians. But either way, they deserve to be recorded for posterity.
Right.
For example, my history covers that great period of war between the Greeks and the Persians. In so doing, I then talk about the great battle at sea, the Battle of Salamis, as well as that famous moment where 300 Spartans defended against entire hordes of Persian troops coming over to the east to try and take over our land. And I'll have you know, I remembered every single one of those people's names recorded in my history.
But you also include lots of, say, non-historical things in your writing.
Well, my history may include elements of mythology, but surely that serves to spice it up. After all, who doesn't want to hear about Jason, his Argonauts, and the tale of the Golden Fleece? And that is interspersed with accounts that most of all I have gained from real experience. And this, my friend, is where my history makes the difference, because for me, history is about people.
But history is a story of why things happen. How do you deal with that?
It's about interactions, it's about talking to people. And in doing that, I gain the true story of those around us, of society, of politics, of events, and certainly of the past, but more importantly, about what people are doing today and perhaps why they are doing it.
Now, Herodotus, some people call you the father of history. Why is that?
A father of history. Well, I am delighted to have received such a title in 2020, but surely I'm just building on the stories and accounts of those who went before me, of Homer and his great mythological writing, for example.
Right. And what are you doing then that your predecessors haven't done?
Well, my accounts do not try to make moral judgment on the past, but instead simply record it, as I said at the beginning, for the purpose of entertainment and of posterity.
Ah.
But who doesn't want to hear a bit of mythology thrown in here and there? The Oracle of Delphi, the priests of Hephaestus. And now I must go. Darling, have you heard the story of the giant ants getting the gold out of India?
Next for our inquiry, we're going to be investigating someone who has been called the greatest Athenian that ever lived. He was also interested in politics, in science and in international relations. He survived the Great Plague of Athens, and he wrote, most famously, an immense history of the Peloponnesian War. This man is Thucydides. Thucydides, hi.
Hello, Mr. Keet. This is Thucydides. You are 3 minutes late. I anticipated your call at 2:40. It is now 2:43 in the afternoon.
I've called to ask you some questions about your approach to history, Thucydides. Do you think I could take a few minutes of your time?
I am willing to discuss my approach to history, but I would require a more specific question, please.
A more specific question, right. So, what evidence do you use? What sources do you use? That's a good question.
What sources do I use? That's a better question, much more specific. Well, the answer is that I go to people. I myself was a general until I failed in the siege of Amphipolis, which I'm trying to recreate now more accurately with my figurines. But I've also been exposed to the politicians of Athens. And in my history, the history of the Peloponnesian Wars, you will find an extensive speech by one of the fathers of democracy, Pericles.
Okay.
In that speech, I try, as best I can, to replicate word for word what was said, although there may be a little freedom there used, give or take, but certainly no mythology in my accounts of the past.
Okay. Why are you so cynical then?
Now, I wouldn't say I was a cynic at all. I'm just concerned with the bare bones of the past, reconstructing what actually happened in a precise and accurate way, not including any of this faff about culture or art or random stories about ants, which I'm sure Herodotus may have told you already. Instead, I'm more concerned about what lessons we can draw from the past. But that said, my book is not a moral code. It is simply stating what happened, and the reader can work out from that and draw the lessons which they wish to conclude.
Okay, thank you very much, Thucydides. I've got another call coming in. I'll put you on conference call.
Hello, Mr. Keet. Yes, I'm happy to do a conference call. Hello, Thucydides. Cheers to you. I've never heard of you before, but I'm happy to speak to you anyway.
Hello, Herodotus. I haven't heard you speak since I was a little boy, listening to one of your speeches in and around Athens.
So Mr. Keet is trying to figure out who is the father of history. And what are your thoughts on that, Thucydides?
Well, I think that if anyone is going to consider who was the father of history, they need to think about both of us. You have an approach which is different to mine in the sense that you look at culture, the arts, anthropology, human stories, and some myth, whereas I am more concerned with precise events and begin to think about why things happened.
Well, I think we need a little bit of mythology thrown in there, but I'll go along with that. I don't mind a bit of precision, old boy, too.
That's very true. And indeed, if any of you watching want to follow me, you can find my channel, Thucydides in the Shed. I've got about 3 subscribers, so I've got somewhere to go yet. But I'm going to get back now to recreating the siege of Amphipolis. Bye.
And while we're on here, I should advertise that I myself have a very prolific and famous Instagram account, Herodotus, on location, all around ancient Greece and Egypt.
So there you have it, both Herodotus and Thucydides, both from ancient Greece, both considered in one way or another to be fathers of history. But which do you think is more deserving of the title? Don't forget to post your comments below, subscribe here, and I'll see you next time on Mr. Keet on Location.